The world is constantly changing. Countries rise, economies grow, and conflicts arise. The global economy connects every country, business, and person, bringing us closer as time goes by. But what happens when this tightly connected system starts to fall apart? What happens when the economy slows down, not just in one country, but across the entire world? What exactly is a global recession? A global recession is an extended period of economic decline across the globe. This isn't just a slowdown in one country. It's a synchronized downturn across many interconnected economies. When one country's economy falters, the impact ripples through trade relations, financial systems, and global markets, pulling other economies down with it. But how do we know when we're in a global recession? The International Monetary Fund has set the criteria. For an economic downturn to be called a global recession, there has to be a noticeable drop in GDP, along with declines in other key areas like trade, investment, and jobs. Unlike a national recession, which is usually identified by 2 consecutive quarters of declining GDP, a global recession is trickier to pinpoint. The IMF doesn't specify a minimum time frame for a global recession, but they do look at a broader set of indicators, including trade volumes, industrial production, and even oil consumption. So, what causes this global economic storm? Let's explore the causes through key historical examples, starting with the global financial crisis of 2007-2009. This crisis was triggered by a housing market downturn in the United States. For years, favorable economic conditions encouraged people to buy homes, often taking on massive loans they couldn't afford, betting that house prices would keep rising. Banks, eager to profit, issued risky loans without proper checks and packaged them into complex financial products called mortgage-backed securities, MBS. When U.S. house prices started to fall in 2006, this financial house of cards collapsed. Borrowers defaulted on their loans, MBS products plummeted in value, and banks worldwide faced massive losses. As banks failed, panic spread, freezing financial markets, plummeting global trade, and dragging economies worldwide into recession. What started as a housing crisis in the U.S. became a global recession, the likes of which hadn't been seen since the Great Depression. Other global recessions have stemmed from different causes, but the common thread is a significant shock that disrupts the global economy. For instance, the 1975 global recession was driven by a massive oil price shock following the Arab oil embargo, which triggered inflation and slowed growth worldwide, a phenomenon known as stagflation. In 1982, a combination of rising global inflation, a second oil shock in 1979, and financial crises in Latin America converged to create another global recession. Central banks raised interest rates to combat inflation, but this also stifled economic growth, leading to a global slowdown. The 1991 global recession was caused by a mix of heightened geopolitical uncertainty due to the Gulf War, financial disruptions in Europe, and the transition of Eastern European countries from centrally planned to market economies. So, what does the process of a global recession look like? It usually begins with a major economic shock, such as a sudden spike in oil prices, a financial market crash, or a geopolitical event that disrupts trade. This shock triggers a decline in key economic indicators. Global GDP falls, industrial production slows, trade volumes shrink, and unemployment rises. As these indicators worsen, people lose confidence in the economy. Businesses reduce investments, consumers spend less, and financial markets become more unstable. This loss of confidence can deepen the downturn, creating a vicious cycle of shrinking economic activity. One of the most striking features of a global recession is its simultaneous impact on multiple regions. Unlike a national recession, which might affect only 1 or 2 countries, a global recession sees economies around the world contracting at the same time, amplifying the overall impact. During the 2009 global recession, for example, nearly all advanced economies and many emerging markets were in recession simultaneously. Global trade collapsed, capital flows dried up, and the world economy was essentially in free fall. But just as storms eventually pass, global recessions do come to an end. The recovery process, however, can be long and challenging. Recoveries typically involve a broad-based rebound in economic activity. Governments and central banks play crucial roles by implementing policies to stimulate growth, such as cutting interest rates, increasing government spending, or bailing out struggling industries. After the 2009 global recession, for example, central banks worldwide slashed interest rates to near zero and launched massive stimulus programs. Governments boosted spending to support businesses and workers, gradually helping the global economy recover. However, recovery paths vary between countries. Advanced economies often recover more slowly due to complex financial systems and higher levels of debt, while emerging markets may bounce back quicker if they have strong trade ties or abundant natural resources. The most important lesson from past global recessions is the need for better oversight and regulation. The 2009 crisis highlighted the dangers of excessive risk-taking and inadequate financial regulation. In response, global financial institutions have since implemented stricter rules to prevent another crisis of that magnitude. Yet, despite these efforts, the risk of another global recession is never fully eliminated. Understanding its causes and effects helps us prepare for the future. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this.